That's correct. I mean, we're always happy to put those good numbers in the bank, and we continue to stay focused on where the fire has a potential, where it can still be a threat.
Now, and I know you kind of pointed this out already, but maybe we can get a closer view at the map for our viewers. Can you kind of point out where the 45% containment is at right now, if you've got an idea?
Yeah, if you can see the black fire line edge, where it's black, that's where we have containment. So all along the 24 corridor, mostly up and around Adobe Heights here, all the way along, and parts of this which aren't shown on this map are the area that we're letting people back into to visit in Colorado Springs. Then this chunk up here between Rampart Range Road and Rampart Reservoir. This piece, which I was talking to you earlier about, we have a line in there. We have 120 people holding that piece of line. We hope to be able to turn that black, so to speak, for tomorrow. That's how we build containment. We get the line in, we hold it for a day or two, we mop it up, we take the heat sources away, we build our confidence up, then we share our confidence with you all by painting the line black on our map. We slowly work our way around. We're making good progress. We've got a few areas like this Monument Creek that we're working on really hard. Finally got some troops in there to help back that up. And by when we finally got them in, they've been working their way into some really rough country. They've been on their way. We've got boots on the ground up there now, backed up by aviation. And a lot of dozer line. You can see these black lines on the map. These are dozer lines that we have in place for contingency plans, that kind of stuff in case. So even though we're happy to report 45, we remain focused on the 55 and continue to try to move forward and put this thing to bed.
Yeah, you kind of said you're a pessimist, although the firefighters remain optimistic. Talk about maybe point out some of the areas where the fire is raging at its fiercest, where the fight is going on, maybe most difficult right now.
Well, I like to say the fire's not raging today. That's why we made progress. There was actually no perimeter growth on the fire at all today. So raging, the only place you see raging is on these islands in the interior, these green spots. And you can see that's unburned. It's a mile away from the edge of our containment line. It is not a high priority for us right now as we work to lock down the lines that can stop the spread. So when you guys are seeing smoke out there, most of the smoke is coming from right here. You can see how steep this is, how heavily wooded it is. It's this particular one is almost 2.5 miles inside the fire. It's just not a high priority for us right now. So you're seeing smoke from these, no movement at all in the entire perimeter of the fire, and growth on containment.
Now, if there is any threat to community areas still, where would those areas be at this time?
Well, primarily over in this area. The prevailing winds from this direction are from the south and the south and the west. That's going to push the fire to the north and to the east. That puts this community here, Peregrine and Wood Hills, I think they call it, up in here. They're fine right now in terms of there's no fire moving towards them. There's no reports of fire moving towards them. We have boots and engines and aircraft all monitoring this and making progress on here. But that's the upwind direction closest to the fire, and that's catching a lot of our attention. Some of this, they're talking about like getting people back in here starting tomorrow. That's where the black lines are. That's where our confidence is high. So we're feeling good on the downwind side. We still remain worried on the so-called upwind side.
And just finally, they did mention things are drying out a little bit with the lower percentage of humidity. Yet, do you feel that the conditions are still favorable for your guys who are out there fighting?
Well, I'd actually prefer rain for favorable conditions. So no, the conditions aren't exactly what we call favorable, but they're better than they have been on other days. And, we don't get to change the weather. We just have to deal with what it gives us. So I'd say from that aspect, we're prepared to deal with it. But if you could turn off the wind and the heat, we really wouldn't mind.
Great. Thanks, Rich Harvey, once again joining us, explaining this map a little bit better. Again, 45% containment on the Waldo Canyon Fire. And we noticed he did point out one area here that could turn to a black line tomorrow, which means an increase in containment to this fire that has already caused $8.8 million in damage. We'll send this back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thanks.
We're outside Summit Elementary, and they received some good news here, especially Teller County and Woodland Park. Joining me here is City Manager of Woodland Park, David Buttery. So they get to go home. You get to go home.
That's absolutely right. Yes, today at 4 o'clock, the sheriff did relieve us from the mandatory evacuation order. That's good news for Teller County and Woodland Park. So we're very pleased. We're very appreciative to the incident command team and the command structure here in Teller County for the great leadership that they showed. And we're certainly thrilled that now we can let our citizens get back home this evening.
We missed right at the beginning, but our indication was a lot of people, right when they heard that, got on their phones and just started heading out.
Absolutely. You could hear the beep, beep, beep of people texting and calling. It was quite exciting.
You yourself have been in the evacuation, so you can